joined 5. I got the CO, I think I started to tell the story. The CO was John Dunn, the guy that was doing my check in Vietnam as a squadron. He's now the CO of the squadron. I walked in and he said, "Oh, you're a second tour guy." And I said, "Hang on a minute, I haven't flown rate." He said, "It's immaterial. I expect you to do a refresher course and then get operational quickly." And I said, "Well, hang on a minute, I've got to do a full conversion." And he said, no, you get 10 hours. So I got 10 hours as a refresher. Got made a DCAT captain, did less than a month and a half as a co-pilot, and what was interesting was I went down as a DCAT and I got sent to do my CCAT check, my captaincy check, and they sent me down leading an 8-ship that was, wait a minute, no, that was the BCAT check. My CCAT check was actually during one of the major exercises in Shoalwater Bay. And on the day, Bill McCubbin, a good mate of mine, was with us. He was one of the ops instructors. And we got tasked as 01 leading an 8-ship for a major assault on an airfield as the start of the exercise. And it was the practice day. And I briefed it, I took off, we went around and everything was going swimmingly. Flew around, and as I was turning base to land, I looked and I could actually see the smoke changing direction as the wind change came, and I landed the whole 16 of us downwind. Unfortunately, it was an airfield and we got it on the ground, and we went back and the day went well accordingly, but in my debrief, Bill said, "Well, you can't land a 16-ship downwind, that's a fail for your CCAT check." And I went, "Okay, that's the way life is." The next day is the opening where all the press are there, everything, and I look at the crew board and there's McCubbin Thynne as 01 again, and I said, "Oh, what's going on?" I said, "Oh, it's your CCAT check again. You're going to do it again, the whole same thing." So I led the 16, it all went off okay, I got my CCAT check. So about, I guess it was, I don't know, 5 or 6 months later, they say, "Oh, it's time to upgrade you to BCAT." And I went, "Oh, okay." And they said, we've got an 8-ship push to somewhere, we get you to lead that as part of your BCAT check. And that went off okay. Came back from it, got written up as a BCAT. I said, "So any time I lead 4, I'm an ACAT?" 16, 8. It was a fascinating time. So I did through middle of 81, and then in 83, left 5 Squadron on a posting up to the Sinai, to the Multinational Force and Observers, which is an interesting thing because my grandfather, my father and I all had government-sponsored trips to within a 20-kilometre radius of a place in the Sinai Desert. My grandfather in World War I, my father in World War II, and me in the 83 in the peacekeeping. So that's a family thing that probably haven't made enough of, should write books about it or something. And I came back off MFO after 6 months up there, and my wife and I had problems and were splitting, and a phone call came in. The guys were off on a major exercise over in northwestern Western Australia, and the call came in from DPO saying that they wanted to talk to one of the guys. And I said, "Oh, well, he's away." And they said, "Oh, that's a pity." And I said, "What's the issue?" And they said, "Oh, we want a BCAT to go up to Townsville as a deputy flight commander at 35 Squadron." And I said, "Well, that could be me, couldn't it?" And they said, "Why?" And I said, "Well, I've split up from my missus and I really should go somewhere else. And I'm a BCAT and I've got Townsville on my preferences." And they said, "No, you haven't." I said, "Yes, I have. Have a look, please." And, oh, you have? "Oh, okay. And you really like it?" I said, "Hell, yeah, please." So about a week later, out comes the posting to 35 Squadron Townsville as the Deputy Flight Commander in early 84. And the guys come back from the exercise, and the particular bloke that they'd had in mind, I showed him the posting And he went, "Oh, you lucky bastard, that's what I wanted." And I said, "Well, you know, I sort of knew that, but that's the way it is." It took me about 10 years to tell him that I'd actually white-handed him pretty badly. But that sent me off then up to Townsville, flying Iroquois again with 35 Squadrons. So I've flown with 5, 9 and 35. Almost everybody flew with 5. A lot flew with 9. 35, when we joined it, only had 4 aircraft. It was fairly small and so on. It wasn't until 9 Squadron got the Black Hawks that we actually swelled in size. That was I did 2 years as Deputy Flight Commander and then got promoted to Squadron Leader and took over as the Flight Commander. And there's some interesting and fascinating bits and pieces associated with that.